you're a freedom fighter, you need to keep fighting forever. Something about my answer just really set Zelensky off. There was a lack of respect. There was a certain sense of entitlement.
At long wait, we finally have word from JD Vance himself, albeit in a softball Hannity interview where he wouldn't push back anything, but it is his first interview since the Zelensky argument, so I want to hop right into this with our fact checks ready. Be sure to like and subscribe if you haven't already. That helps us out a ton, and strap in.
And then when it really went off the rails, of course, is when I asked, or you had a Polish journalist who asked a question, the president answered it, and then I answered it, and then something about my answer just really set Zelensky off. So then he came at me.
So you're blaming yourself.
then I went back at him,
right.
And what I tried to do originally was actually try to diffuse the situation a little bit, because I'm like, we're having this meeting. Obviously, there are 100 television cameras here. Let's try to have this conversation in private. And then the president, as we kept on going back and forth, I tried again to say, well, maybe we should have this conversation in private. And the president was like, nope, actually, I don't want to have it in private anymore. I want to have this actual conversation in public for the American people to see.
Yeah, I wonder what about Vance's answer could have possibly upset Zelensky. It was just framed with Kremlin talking points and completely ahistorical to the conflict, and how Zelensky came at him was by calmly explaining Putin has went back on peace deals with Ukraine before, with Zelensky specifically before asking, hey, what diplomacy are you meaning? Like, what is going to be different this time? Apparently, that warrants Trump yelling at him publicly, the two of them berating and attacking him, where I stress again, Russian state media was present coincidentally to live stream the entire thing. It was literally the most obvious setup of all time. Trump and Vance are as bad at acting as they are at governing.
Sean, is you have Zelensky. He goes to Europe, and a lot of our European friends puff him up. They say, you're a freedom fighter. You need to keep fighting forever. Well, fighting forever with what? With whose money, with whose ammunition, and with whose lives? The president is actually taking a much more realistic perspective and saying, this can't go on forever. We can't fund this thing forever. The Ukrainians can't fight forever. So let's bring this thing to a peaceful settlement.
This is such weird framing. Zelensky was invaded. He is not the one who started the war or is pushing for it. And literally any interview with Zelensky you can watch, he speaks of wanting to end the war, understanding he won't be able to return to post-2014 borders, but wanting to resolve the conflict in a way that Ukrainian sovereignty is preserved. It's like they want to pretend that because Ukrainian sovereignty is a non-negotiable for him, as it should be with any leader of any country when speaking for the people of his country, that is him starting the war. That Russian talking point is just bloodthirsty. Zelensky has said that he would resign if it brought Ukraine peace. So if he's the one willing to put his life on the front line to bring peace to his country, he's even went the diplomatic route and tried to sign peace deals with Putin, of which Putin is the one who swiftly broke. The idea that Zelensky is the one that wants to keep fighting and not Putin is insane, and you haven't seen Trump put any of this kind of pressure on Putin, but instead just on the country that was invaded. Because he won't hand Ukraine over to Russia. That's literally the only reason.
And I do think that there was just a certain sense of, there was a lack of respect, there was a certain sense of entitlement, and most importantly, look, we can look past all of that stuff, but the president has set a very clear goal for his administration.
If you want the killing to stop, maybe, just maybe, you put more pressure on the dictator doing the killing than the democracy being killed. I don't know. Crazy concept. Try it out for a size, conservatives. But it's wild what these people want, and the fact that they're being so honest and open about it. They literally wanted Zelensky to come and kiss Trump's feet, bend the knee, beg mercy and for money and all of this, where if he had done that, they would have probably just been like, oh, look how desperate he is for money. He's begging for it. Like, these people are pathetic. They just want to espouse Russian positions in any way they can, whatever way the wind blows. Zelensky wants to get a fair deal done. But because fair is in there, he wants the war to continue. The point of being a mediator is to make the two parties that have a conflict, who clearly have different goals and outcomes that they want, and you use what leverage you have with both parties. Maybe it's aid with one party and sanctions on the other, or whatever it may be, to bring them to the table where they might not have came without that kind of, push. And then you walk them through a deal that they meet in the middle on. You don't just come in clearly in favor of the party that doesn't want to come to the table to negotiate, then threaten aid from the party that is at the table ready to negotiate, and then try to force your hand and then get mad when it doesn't work. This is truly a dark time for America, a fall from grace from the shining city on the hill, and even more so for Ukraine. Like, I don't want to make this about America when it's like, this is really on Ukraine. And I just hope that we get through this period, that Ukraine gets through this period, and that especially they can with their sovereignty and their lives intact.